Hey everybody, Roman Versus with the Squashfest podcast and my co-host,
The third happiest black guy in the world.
the third happiest. Okay.
Do we gotta start that over?
No.
The
I'm just wondering who the two other ones are.
Street Profits. Did you not see that match last night?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That match was a banger.
I actually watched it this morning just like you.
Yeah, I just finished up the SmackDown right now. That was a really good episode of SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. I have my thing up ready. I already did the thumbnail, so we're good to go.
All right. So one thing I want to point out before we even start is they're doing that thing that I brought up forever ago. I don't even think we had a podcast at that point, where I told you my favorite thing about wrestling was when you can have one feud going on and simultaneously having other interconnecting feuds and all that, and that's exactly what they're doing. There's so many things happening last night. It's like, oh yeah, you're beefing with this one, yeah, but I'm beefing with this one, and you're in the way of that, and like it was all over the place, and I love that because whenever back in the day you'd have Stone Cold beefing with Triple H or whatever, he was still beefing with The Rock, and The Rock would still beef with him, but he's also beefing with Triple H. You know what I mean? Like there was always something going on with somebody at the
They're
same time, and
they're
I love that.
interconnecting. They're interconnecting the universe, which makes more sense as opposed to when we talk about the last few dark ages of Vince. The last few years of WWE and Vince, it was just all right. You're here, you're here, you're here, but no one else interacts with each other. It's almost like they were like six or seven different things happening in the same workplace, but no one ever
Knew about the
acknowledged.
others, yeah.
Yeah, no one ever acknowledged anything else. Like they're on their own little separate islands. And I think the one you're really thinking about last night was Nia Jax and Naomi.
Hmm.
That's the one that really
Well, I'm also
because
thinking about the Jacob Fatu stuff.
yeah, well, I think we're gonna get a fatal four way at Backlash for that title. I
Oh
think
my
that's where they're
god.
gonna. Yes, I
I
know. It's
that's definitely where we're going with this. It feels like, but yeah, we'll get into that.
yeah, yeah. So it was a great SmackDown. Cena comes out. Cena kicks off. Cena talks all the stuff he's. Oh wait, no, actually, before he even gets to talk, Randy Orton comes out, and they have the back and forth of of Orton basically telling him a lot of the things Cody was telling him is like, I'm a third generation superstar. My father was a wrestler, my grandfather was a wrestler, and you can't erase my legacy. You can't take the title away from me. I need to stop you from taking the title away, blah 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 blah. Cena was like,
Well,
Randy, you
the
have
the the first half of that was him basically telling him, "I know the real you. This isn't you."
yeah.
Tr-
Orton telling Cena that.
Trying to
But
talk
he
to him first.
and he does make the reference. He does say we're in some sort of bizarro universe where I'm the good guy and you're the bad guy, which I really like. I laughed. I was like, yeah, that is super strange to have Randy Orton be the baby face facing John Cena the heel. Like that's nuts. Um, but Cena starts running down. It's like, Randy, you have kids, and you know why I didn't? I never had kids. It's because I had to raise all of these kids. Talking about wrestling fans for the last 25 years. And he goes, oh look, a 6-year-old just flipped me off. Like he was classy kid.
Yeah, he just
Um,
went in on that guy. He was just like, "Your father's a loser."
yeah.
I was just like, "Damn."
He goes, he points at the crowd and goes, this 100-year-old man, the greatest thing he ever did was dress like Jack Black. It's just like, I don't know if you're having internet issues, but I definitely in the Discord, you're pixelating a little bit.
Sorry about
I
that.
don't know.
The feed
No,
is fine though. So
okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Okay, so you just go back and forth. It's really good, and then eventually Orton challenges Cena to a match. That night, Cena says no. Cena goes, oh, I did like that Cena said, I'm 17, you're 14. And if when I leave, if you happen to win that whatever next aluminum foil championship that
start back
they
at
put,
one.
you start back at one because it doesn't count. That was just the heel work. He's doing such great heel work. It's insane. And my daughter looks at me. She goes, is that how that works? I'm like, no, that's not how that works. If he wins a different championship, it's still a 15th world championship. It's not a one. But Cena makes the point. He's like, I want to do this in your hometown. I want to do this at Backlash, and I want and because I want to do it in front of your family, and I want to beat you. So Cena attacks. Cena stomps him out. Cena tries to hit him with the belt. Randy Orton evades the belt and hits him with an RKO. And they announce we're gonna get Orton and Cena at Backlash for Chapter 1 of the Cena Greatest Hits tour. So I'm excited for that match, unless they decide to go the route like they did at Mania, where it's just slow, methodical.
Yeah, it needs to not be that.
Yeah.
I saw him stomping him out when he was stomping out Randy Orton. He was stomping out pretty fast. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping
I can see Cody being, and the term "good soldier" in wrestling this week is being thrown around because of Karrion Kross and Bayley and everything they've been talking about. But I can see Cody being the good soldier, being like, all right, if that's what John wants to do at Mania, we'll do it at Mania. I don't see Orton doing that. I don't see Punk doing that when he eventually has that Punk feud. If Cena wants to have these slow, methodical matches, these guys are going to be like, are you out of your goddamn mind? Punk is going to look at him in the back and be like, no, John, we're not doing that. Absolutely not. So I don't think we'll have him moving forward. But it was, like I said, good segment. Got me excited for the match. Cena's doing great work. What are your takeaways from the entire segment?
I love the segment. I agree with you. Cena's doing his best work right now. The only issue I have is yet again him getting laid out.
Yeah, it seems like we're gonna do copy and paste.
Yeah, it's like every promo he hits you with a promo, he goes for the attack, and right after he's the one laid out, and then the other person standing on top of him. That's the only thing I don't like. I would like to see a little bit more back and forth. Let him get some over on the other guy first. Don't just have him getting knocked out every goddamn show.
I mean, it's 1980s heel booking, right? That's basically what Cena's doing. He's going to all of these different crowds, and he's running the crowds down, and he's getting laid out by the babyface to make the crowd happy. But at the end of the day, at the big show, Cena's going to win.
No, I get that. I understand that, but I'm just saying I hate the fact that every week I have to see him get laid out, and then at a pay-per-view I have to see him win the chip again. You know what I mean?
I got you. They're booking him like Iron Sheik 1984. I get it. Like, this is exactly the way they booked everybody in the 80s. All the heels, and then the baby faces made people happy.
It's 2025.
I'm aware, but you got to also remember Triple H, as much as he's sometimes in depth with what new wrestling is.
No, he's still old head.
He's still an old head. He's still trained by Killer Kowalski. He's still learned under Ric Flair. Like, he has a lot of that mentality in him. And a lot of his booking is pulling from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just the non-40-year-old wrestling fan doesn't know that booking, so it's new to them. Which is why I'm around to point them out. Like, no, this happened in 1992 on a Tuesday in Wisconsin.
All right, here we go. I can't with you.
All right, so then we get our first match of the night, the Smackdown debut of Nathan Frazier, and I guess you can call it a re-debut of Axiom, because he had that one match against Gunther, but the tag team debut of Fraxiom. And I've been telling people, these two guys might be the best tag team workers in the world right now. This match was a whole lot of fun. This match was super fast-paced. These guys were moonsaults and phoenix splashes. He was trained by Seth Rollins, but I always say Nathan Frazier is a blonde Seth Rollins in that ring. He got that hot tag, and he was hitting those ropes like Braun Breaker. He was
really ridiculously fast. I thought the same thing. As soon as I saw him, I was like, yo, this is like Braun Breaker-esque.
And it's just... I like the fact that you're adding new tag teams, you're building new tag teams, and the Garzas didn't look bad in this match. You had these guys actually going out there and having good work, because this could have easily been 4 minutes and then to put the new guys over. But no, they're allowing these really competitive matches in the tag division to get people over. This is a really, really fun match. Eventually, The new guys, Fraxiom, does get the win with a Phoenix Splash by Nathan Frazier. Again, Seth Rollins' old finishing move when he was on the Indies. So trained by Seth Rollins, he's using all of that stuff. Really great match, and I think the sky's the limit for these two guys. I'm really looking forward in the future to a Street Profits versus Fraxium match. I think they had one on NXT a couple months back, but as you always say, NXT is not canon.
Mm-hmm.
So Street, I think that could be a really great match. And sidebar, I know we're going to get into it later. Montez Ford, God, that guy. he the stuff he was doing in that TLC match was just bananas.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, really great match, and I really like the debut of Fraxium coming to I was gonna say TNA to Friday Night SmackDown.
I agree with everything you said. What I loved most of all is that the commentary team kept mentioning like how this is gonna affect Santos Escobar and how he's probably in the back thinking to himself like like what is up with my guys? They can't seem to finish these matches.
Mm-hmm.
So they're continuing that story and which I really appreciate. And he didn't even have to appear. So it's something that I'm looking forward to because there has to be some sort of payoff the way they keep on like pushing these guys and pushing that narrative of like they're doing great work, some of their best work recently, and they're still
Mm-hmm.
not getting the win. So what happens with them eventually? You know what I mean? So that has me
Yeah,
very intrigued. I thought Axiom, they're ridiculous. I think they're gonna be the next, huh?
Fraxium. Fraxium.
Fraxium, Axiom, Flaxium.
Axiom.
I don't know.
Axiom is one guy. Nathan Frazier is another guy. It's
Look,
Fraxium.
look at me. I'm probably never gonna get it right. So
I mean, when they first put them as a tag team together, they tried to do this weird Justice League type thing because one literally looks like a superhero. That was his original gimmick. He was like this guy who was a mathematician superhero, and then the other one just runs the ropes like he's Flash. So they were trying to create like a superhero s tag team, but they quickly went away from that.
okay, but yeah, I think they're ridiculously skilled. Um, the only thing that stuck out to me too was when you said that they're the best tag team right now.
They are one, in my opinion, probably the best tag team workers.
Okay, because
They're not the most over tag team, but from
no,
bell to
not
bell.
over, but from bell to bell, you said the same thing about Motor City.
No, Motor City Machine Guns are one of the greatest tag teams ever. Those guys can work. They are absolutely great workers. So their fluidity between the two of them is fantastic. Right now, if I'm picking a tag team across all companies, I'm going Fraxium.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
all
interesting.
companies.
Through all companies, that's crazy.
I think they're doing. You haven't watched enough of them over the last year.
No,
Their last
I
year,
haven't seen them. Again, I'm NXT not canon. I don't watch anything that happens outside of the scope of Raw and SmackDown. So this is like one of my first times ever watching them.
mhm.
I've
they're
seen tidbits here and there, but this is my first real time watching a full on match. And
yeah,
I
no,
thought they were amazing. I thought they were amazing.
they're incredible.
The entire
Uh
time I kept watching Axiom, I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, that mask though, the way it covers his entire face, I'm just
hmm
like, that has to get hot. It's hard to breathe, like
It
doing all
has to.
those.
It's almost mesh, so it's more ventilated than like a traditional luchador mask. But I've always thought that about lucha libre masks. Like it's got to be bad. Like I don't know how Glenn Jacobs wrestled in that cane mask for so many years
Yeah.
because that would have gotten sweaty and disgusting because it was just a straight up piece of leather with eye holes.
Was it
So
leather? I thought it was more like plasticky. It's leather?
no, the original one was leather.
Oh, okay.
Then they made it smaller, so that, which showed more of his beard, so he could breathe more. But the original one was leather.
Copy. What's our
All right,
next?
so Tiffany Stratton comes to the ring talking about her WrestleMania win over Charlotte Flair. Um,
I thought this was a great segment.
it was a great segment. My takeaway is again, you give Tiffany a script, she's fine.
Hmm.
A little of it, again, a little bit because she's a babyface. I think she's still getting used to being the babyface. A little bit comes off as a little hokey. Like I've heard all this before. Yeah, I've always been talked about being the next Charlotte Flair, but I'm the only Tiffany Stratton, right? Like she's just coming off as the baby. It's the traditional babyface thing. Um, she gets interrupted by Jade. and she's trying. Her promo walking to the ring, I felt like she was unsure of some of the things she needed to say.
Yeah.
Um, but she's trying, she's learning.
There
She
was a
looked
little
like
bit. She fumbled her words a little bit too.
yeah,
Once
yeah,
she got into the ring.
yeah. Um, they had a match. Like this match was fine. Like it's.
I think the match started out a little clunky.
Mhm,
You saw at least two botches, which
mhm,
immediately made me think of you.
mhm.
I'm like, Dee's watching this right now, and he's seeing these botches, and he's like, "Oh, okay, so we're back to regular Jade." But after the two botches, I feel like they picked it up right
The
before
argument
the interference.
the argument for her is in order for Jade and Tiffany a little bit too, but in order for them to have great matches, they need to be in a ring with somebody who can control the match. They need a veteran.
Which is exactly what when I saw the two botches between the two girls, I kept saying to myself, I said, that's what it is. Because Jade looked spectacular at WrestleMania,
With Naomi.
and it
Yep.
was because she was with the vet. And again,
Yep.
same could be for same could
Tiffany.
be
Yep.
said for Tiffany. Tiffany is great, but she's not able to carry someone
Correct.
in a match yet. And
Correct.
that's why when
She had a good match against Charlotte. Her match against Becky in NXT was great. She's really good, but she can't. This was just a match, and
Mhm.
they had some really good spots, but it's just like I'm watching this and I'm just like neither one of those. She went for that handspring elbow like 4 times,
Mhm.
and I'm just why are we getting 3 segments for this? And I found out towards the end why we got it because you had Naomi come out, and by the way, is that the worst looking beatdown in the history of wrestling when Naomi mounts Jade and she's trying to beat her down and she's doing this? I saw somebody on Twitter put Slipknot over it. It just looks like Naomi's playing drums. It was the worst look. She wasn't even trying.
Nah,
It was terrible.
it did look bad.
And then so Jade I mean, it was a DQ because Naomi came out and attacked Jade. We didn't get a winner in this match.
Yeah.
Naomi attacks Jade.
Mhm.
Tiffany comes into the ring. Naomi and Tiffany have a little bit of a stare down. Naomi takes the powder, walks away, and then blasted from behind, you get cousin-in-law Nia Jax into the ring to attack Tiffany Stratton, hits her with the Annihilator, grabs the title, and then lays it over Tiffany. And then coming out of break, we get the backstage segment between Naomi and her cousin-in-law, Nia Jax. And immediately I thought, after this feud is over, can we just make them two a tag team?
Why?
Can we just get Nia Jax and Naomi in a tag team? I think them two as a heel tag team could be fantastic, and it would be the one thing we've always said. It's like we can do more female members of the bloodline if you want to do it that way,
Yeah,
right?
but the bloodline for the most part is over though.
It's dead, yeah, yeah. Because you can even when we get to Jacob Fatu, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, and uh, what is her name? Nia Jax. I was gonna say Lena. Nia Jax looks at Naomi. She goes, "I don't care what you have going on with Jade. Stay out of my feud with Tiffany. Like, stay in your lane." And Naomi just goes, "I will. Just remember to proceed with caution," which is again, it's gonna be her thing moving forward. And then
I thought it was cool the line, but her delivery was off.
she's getting more psychotic. So
Yeah.
she's messing with the delivery a little bit every week.
Yeah.
And so funny. Nia Jax,
Yeah.
rude,
Yeah.
rude. I'm just like, she's hilarious. Nia Jax is hilarious.
I've been
Like
said
whenever
it. She's one of my
if you,
favorites, and
if you
everybody
follow
always
her
argued with
on,
me.
if you follow her on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, she is hilarious.
Hmm.
She's a great actress because she's supposedly one of the most delightful people in the back. Like everybody loves her. But
Everybody loves her. Hmm.
she plays this, you know, dastardly, humongous heel on screen because she has to. She's bigger than everybody.
Yeah.
All right. So then
She's one person I
we
could never imagine as a face.
absolutely not. You can't. It's like when I mean it'll be Braun Strowman as a face. I know he's a face now, but what do you do with the giant man as a face? What do you do with what's the other one I was thinking about?
The only people I can think of that they were big like that,
Bronson Reed.
yeah, that they were big like that, that it worked. You have to make them some sort of comedy act. That's the way they always did it. Like I'll right off rip, I was thinking Rikishi. The reason it
Okay.
worked as a face was because he was very comical. You know what I mean, with the dancing and all that, and so on and so forth. I never want to see her do that. I never
The
want to see her.
Funkasaurus.
Yeah, him too. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to see her jokey. I like
Yeah.
this version of the character.
Hmm. All right. So then we get our Jacob Fatu ceremonial United States Championship segment.
Hmm.
Solo comes out. He comes out to the ring, and then he's praising Jacob, but then quickly
Yeah.
transitions to I'm the reason for all of Jacob's success.
Yep.
No one wanted him here in the bloodline.
But what I
I
love
brought him
is
here.
you can follow the trail of as he was talking of how
Yeah,
he came to that. Like
yeah,
like it's almost as if as he was talking he realized, wait a second, it's cuz of me because
uh-huh,
he would never be champion if I never brought him. Like
yeah.
he was on a road and he was taking us with him and then he realized there's a deviation here and he decided, you know what? I'm going to
Absolutely.
take this turn.
Absolutely. And as he's taking the turn, you can see Jacob side eyeing him from the camera angle. And I was like, Jacob don't like this.
No, no.
Jacob. So as he's trying to talk, Jacob literally snatches the mic out of his hand and starts cutting a promo at the fans, but then turns and starts talking to Solo and yelling at him. Like that breakup is going to be so good. Like they're taking the slow turn of turning Jacob Fatu to a babyface because the fans are not going to allow this guy to be a heel for a long time.
Uh-huh.
He's going to have to become a babyface at some point.
Yeah.
He's too over. He's too good. So such a great talent. I've been saying this for years. This eventually leads to LA Knight coming out, and he was hilarious in this segment. I'm sorry, LA Knight comes out. He starts cutting a promo on on Jacob Fatu and on Solo, and then we get Drew McIntyre coming out. Again, I don't like that Drew McIntyre is relegated to the mid card title. I think he should be on the main championship with the scene with everybody else. But I understand why you can't do it because John Cena right now is holding the undisputed championship, so you need something to do
But
with
they
Drew
also
McIntyre.
explained it, which was I thought a nice little tidbit. He was like basically
Mm-hmm.
Cena's a punk and I don't want to go for that title because of what he's doing. And then he was also like Randy Orton decided to insert
Cut the line.
himself,
Yeah,
cut the line, and so whatever. So in the meantime, so to
yeah.
speak, this is what I'm coming after. So it was
Well,
explained, which I
yeah,
liked because normally it would make no sense and they wouldn't even give us any sort of explanation as to
yeah.
why he's regulated to the mid card.
Drew is so good. Like coming out and cutting the promo. Meanwhile, LA Knight is laying on the turnbuckle, laying flat on the turnbuckle pad, a la Shawn Michaels, just like blah 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 blah. You're gonna get in the ring. And Drew looks at me and goes, "I'm gonna get to you in a minute." So eventually, after Drew talks about Solo Sikoa, because again he has no love for the bloodline, he never has. Drew says, "I want to fight again, big guy, big guy." This is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what went through my head. Drew's like, I want to fight the biggest guy in the yard. I want to fight the baddest dog in the yard. I want to fight the baddest dog who has a championship in the yard, and that is Jacob Fatu. So he explains that way. So he wants to be the baddest guy in the company, and he wants to take that title off of Jacob Fatu. And he goes, and then you, and then he says something, and LA Knight gets off the turnbuckle, and he goes, if you want, we can fight right now. And Drew just takes his mic and goes, okay. And he chucks it. And then you get the exact opposite of the worst GM of all time over on Raw. You got the greatest GM on SmackDown coming out, and he goes, all right, we're going to do this, but you two are going to go in the back and put your tights on. You can put your trunks on. We're going to lace up your boots, and we're going to do a match tonight in Fort Worth. And the winner of this is going to be the number one contender for the United States Championship. I immediately thought Drew was going to win this match. I thought it was we're going to Drew Jacob
I
one-on-one.
agree. I agree. That's exactly where
I,
my head went. I
I
was like,
just,
oh, we already know what's going to happen in this match. And
yeah,
boy, was I wrong.
we were wrong because they're having a really good match. And eventually Damian Priest comes out and attacks Drew McIntyre.
Before that, Solo.
Solo hits the spike. Solo hits the spike on LA Knight first. Right. Solo comes out and hits the spike on LA Knight.
And then you
And
see Drew like, wait a second, what's going
yes.
on? You guys are
Yeah.
helping me? He's like, this don't make no sense. But he was like, whatever. A win is a win.
He's because he doesn't like the bloodline going back to when he was a
Yeah.
babyface,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Solo was the guy who cost him his championship at Clash of the Castle years ago.
Yeah.
So anytime Solo helps him, he's like, regrettably, I'll take the help and I'll hit the Claymore and get this win. But I don't like that you did this.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what's happening. So as he's setting up for the Claymore, that's when Damian Priest pulls him out of the ring and attacks him for the DQ. Actually, it wasn't a DQ yet because the referee didn't even see him choke slam him through the announce desk, which makes no sense.
No sense.
Actually, no, that did cause a DQ because LA Knight gets out of the ring and gets in Damian Priest's face and says, "You just cost me a shot at the #1 contendership." So they're arguing, and then that's when Jacob Fatu, again, big blur Samoan, comes out of nowhere and takes them out and
beats everybody.
Obliterates LA Knight and Damian Priest in the ring. He hit hip attacks. He hit a couple of his his best moonsaults ever.
Which for me didn't make any sense. Why are you attacking Damian Priest? Just simply because he's there.
The argument is he's such a wild man, no one can contain him. So if you're just around, I'm going to attack everything that moves.
Yeah, stay healed, bro.
They're trying to keep him healed. He's getting cheered every time he attacks anybody. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He stands tall over Damian Priest in the middle of the ring while LA Knight's in the corner and Drew is selling the chokeslam through the table on the outside. They're turning him into a monster. He's going to hold that title for a long time. He's going to make it legitimate again. He's going to be the best United States champion they've had in a long time. I don't know when they're going to pull the trigger of taking it off of him, but when they do, it's going to be moving him to the main event.
Me personally, I don't know if it's going to be a long time. And the only reason I say that is because we don't know if Solo somehow costs him the championship. And I don't even mean like as an act of betrayal, but costs him like he makes a mistake during a match and then that's how we get that feud.
Okay, I can see that.
I can see him trying to help, you know what I mean? Trying to help Jacob, fumbling it, messing up, and then costing him the title, and then now you got that feud.
Okay. That's one way to go about it. You can do it that way. Well, it'll be interesting. Like I said, this kid's a star. Like, he's just, his presence in the ring is just amazing. You can't say enough about him. His elevation to that unit, even that mid card in less than a year, having no prior large company experience. He was in MLW, which is a super indie, but he has no AEW experience, no TNA experience, no WWE was his first time in front of 10,000 people ever, and he's hitting it out the park. I was interested to see how he was going to do at Mania in front of 60,000 people, and the match was good, but he commanded a presence in an arena, in a stadium that I didn't know if he was going to have that presence, and he was great.
Is Tama Tonga hurt?
I don't know, because they wrote him off TV last week by slamming the door into his wrist.
Yes, I remember.
They wrote him off TV. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he has an injury. Maybe he has a short injury. They wrote him off TV.
I forgot that. That was the last time we saw him.
Yeah. So my shock of the night, my absolute shock of the night. Zelina Vega wins the United States Championship. I did not see this coming. I swear, I like Zelina. I've always thought she was great at everything she does. This was a really fun match. She sells really well. She wrestles really well. She talks really well. I did not see them pulling the trigger and giving her a championship.
Good sir. How many times have I said on this podcast or off this podcast how much I love this girl, how much she's amazing, she's great in ring, her mouthpiece is the best part of her. The fact that she can talk. Like, even that quick segment heading to the ring was
Mm-hmm.
dope. Everything about this girl is awesome. But what did I tell you, and what do I keep hearkening to? Don't give this girl the title if you're not going to do nothing with her. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly, as soon as she got the title, the first thought, now what? Now what? Because you're not going to push her to the moon. I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see it. You know, harm.
I know.
Harm.
I
How many
know.
times have I, like, for years, I've been talking about this girl.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with her? You're not going to push her. So why are you giving her the title? And don't tell me that you're going to make her a transitional. Don't don't have somebody just come out of nowhere next week and take it off of her. Now that she has the title, she needs to get a push. That's it. But that's what I've been saying for the longest time. If you're gonna do something with her, fine, give her the title. But if you're not, and you're just gonna waste my time and get my hopes up, then better off without it.
So the question is, because all of the heels on SmackDown are involved in something right now. Nia Jax is going after Tiffany Stratton's championship.
Yep.
We're still going to continue Naomi Jade for a while, and even Bianca being out for a little while because apparently she has a couple broken fingers. Bianca alluded to when she gets back, she's got her own stuff to deal with, which is going to be Jade and Naomi. So they're going to prolong that feud until Bianca's available.
Mhm.
So who does Zelina work with?
I have an answer.
Because
I have two things. One,
if you say Natalia, I'm going to throw something at you.
no, I would love that. You know, I would love that. But no, immediately my first thought is it's a call up.
Roxanne Perez.
That's exactly who I was thinking. Can you imagine them going back and forth just on the mic?
Back and forth on the mic. They're both diminutive wrestlers, but they can both work. I think those two girls can put on a show because they're both really great wrestlers.
Mhm.
But that segment on a mic between the two of them, just let them go out there and start talking in English and divulge and absolutely let it break down and just start yelling at each other in Spanish. That would be hilarious. The two of them, because it'll be hysterical.
Mhm.
It'll be almost like when Asuka and Io were yelling at each other in Japanese.
Yes.
And none of us had any idea what they were saying, but it was
dope.
money. It was money. But so yeah, Roxanne Perez would be a great call up for that. The draft is coming up sometime soon, so we're gonna get people moving over. So maybe we get somebody coming over from Raw to work with Zelina.
Do they officially do a draft anymore?
They didn't do one last year.
Because I'm saying,
But
like, you see that Fraxiom just debuted out of nowhere. So is it going to be like that where we just see people coming up, or is there an actual draft? I can't remember the last time I saw them drafting. And he's looking it up.
Yes. No, that's WrestleMania. It just says it's scheduled to take place after WrestleMania, but the dates are not confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but there are women who can come up and work with her. Imagine a Jordan Grace Zelina Vega match. Like, there are definitely women from NXT who can come up because there's a logjam in NXT for talented women. They have too many top talents. They had 4 at Stand and Deliver this week between Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Jordan Grace, the other one, Jada Parker,
I was gonna
Cora
say Jada. Yeah.
Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, Sol Ruka just won the NXT North American Championship. She's going to be getting called up sometime within the next year. They have about 10 women there who you can call up and go just directly into a mid-card feud.
I would like to thank WWE 2K25 for the fact that I knew who all those women were when he named them. Because I don't watch NXT, so it's not canon. So realistically, I should have known none of those names. I knew every single person you mentioned. Granted, I've never seen a match, but I fight them on a weekly basis, and most of those people annoy me. Continue.
Especially Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka in that game, it seems like
I want to murder Sol Ruka when I'm fighting that girl. That girl is OP.
Oh, God. All right, so yeah, we get that. And I love the fact that coming out of it, she can never hold her emotions.
Who?
She started crying Zelina.
Yeah.
Started crying right away.
Yep.
because she won the championship. She's crying. She's tearing. Same thing at Backlash last year when she had the match against Rhea. She's crying when she got into the ring, when she had that great Puerto Rican flag dress.
The only thing that bothered me about that segment after she won was the fact that where was the LWO?
They're on Raw. She's technically not part of the LWO anymore.
Oh, is that a thing? I didn't even notice that.
She moved from Raw to SmackDown, so she's by herself. The LWO is on Raw.
Never mind. I take it back.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, yeah, and she points up to the sky. You know, at that moment, I can be like, oh, she's thinking about her dad right now and how much she's, you know, because she's talked about how her dad was a New York City firefighter and died during 9/11 and everything. So it was a great moment.
Well, I thought
so that,
when she pointed up, I thought she was honoring Eddie because she said it in the beginning before the match.
Could be.
Let's do some Latino heat, blah 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 blah, and then
during
the match she was hitting those Eddie moves. So
yeah,
it could have been either or both.
Yeah, exactly. The very next segment, Miz comes out, and Miz is cutting one of his fiery, fantastic Miz.
Well, before
promos.
he came out, remember he was in the back talking to Carmelo Hayes.
I must have missed that. Okay,
so he was talking to Carmelo Hayes about the fact that he won the Andre the Giant Classic.
Okay.
And then basically like behind them they had the trophy and you see like the list of all the previous people or whatever. So then the Miz is like, by the way, that's why I sacrificed myself at the Battle Royale, was because I knew that you're going to do great things, so on and so forth, right?
I think I'm going to fast forward past this because I was just scrolling through.
Copy. And then he takes out a box and he's like, I got you a gift. Opens the box. It's a giant Andre the Giant face chain. Yes. And so Carmelo's like,
go back and watch this.
Yeah, so he gives it to him and he goes, every time I wear this, I'm gonna think that I'm 7 feet tall, larger than life. Which is just funny because you know how Carmelo's not a really big guy.
No.
So then the Miz is like, I'm gonna go out there now and I'm gonna get my moment. And he was like, oh, I'll come with you. Who's like, no, stay back here, which didn't make any sense, but now once you see what happens, then it makes perfect sense. He was like, I'm gonna go out there real quick and I'm gonna do my thing or whatever, because you had your moment. You stay back here, you enjoy your moment, blah blah blah. I'm gonna head out to the ring, and then that's where you take over.
Sidebar: Carmelo Hayes could be another one of those guys in a Paul Heyman stable. Remember we were talking about Austin Theory last time?
No, I get you.
It could. So Carmelo Hayes would fit that as well.
But they already technically have that with him and the Miz, because the Miz is the mouthpiece.
No, I know. I'm just.
But you're saying in terms of like who could use the opportunity to get pushed up and have that mouthpiece and learn from somebody. No, I get what you're saying.
Carmelo Hayes could be that workhorse. He could fit that Randy Orton role in whatever they're building. He could be that workhorse, that young stud who can just the next guy. If it's not going to be like an Austin Theory, if they're going to put somebody else in. So Miz comes out, cuts one of his great fiery Miz promos, talking about, I've been here for 20 years. I've been in this company since 2007. I've main evented WrestleManias. Sidebar again, he main evented the worst WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 27. Anyways, Miz, all this stuff, and then he eventually gets to, because I'm the Miz and that's when the lights turn off. And we already know, because as he's talking, you can see the crowd looking up towards the stage, because I'm assuming the stage hands were putting together Aleister Black's vampire entrance.
Yeah, the candles and all that stuff.
Yeah, they were probably putting it together while Miz was in the ring.
Yeah.
Aleister comes out. I love the fact that they kept his original music. His music's a banger. He has the same entrance again. He rises up like a vampire. Thank God they got rid of that Vince McMahon creak. I love the fact that before, and I don't know if you remember this, before he left WWE, he had a thing with I think it was with Seth Rollins, where he sort of lost an eye, and every week it would grow. So when he went to AEW, he kept using that blue contact, and he kept putting face paint over that eye. kept telling a story with it, even in another company. I love the fact that he came back to WWE and he's still using that bright blue contact, almost like his eye is dead. It's a little really small storytelling thing that he's been doing forever, and I love it. So he gets into the ring. Miz goes to attack him. He hits a black mass. He sits down, gets his pose, and that's the entire segment. And then he walks off. And next week we're gonna get Miz versus Aleister Black in his return match.
Good luck,
effective
Miz.
segment. Yeah, this is if that's not a squash match.
Yeah,
like that needs to be Miz is trying to do anything he can to hurt Aleister Black, and he's just obliterating him with strikes.
Mm-hmm.
They have an opportunity to wash away the sins of the previous regime with him if they do it right.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who needs his mystique to stay up, because other than that, he's good on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good in the ring. But what do you have with him if not that you didn't already have, and especially when Bray was alive? The gimmicks were too similar sometimes for you to really care about Aleister Black. Bray was in that lane. Now you have the Wyatt Six. You haven't seen them on TV forever, but you have the Wyatt Six. Aleister needs to figure out a way to delineate and separate himself from that, because they kind of, again, they feed the same narratives. They feed the same beast.
Yeah.
So, again, effective segment. Next week we'll get Aleister and Miz, and hopefully a 5-minute squash match, and that'll be it. Congratulations to the Aleister Black Zelina Vega family for the championship. One won her first singles championship last night, and one made his re-debut to WWE. They celebrated last night. We'll leave it at that.
You just had to get it in there, no matter what.
All I'm saying is they celebrated. They could have went out after the show, hit the club,
What's the next segment?
Got some beers.
What's the
like
next
that's
segment?
it.
What's the next segment? I hate you.
Did we already talk about LA Knight and Drew McIntyre?
Yes.
That match happened after this. Whatever. So we tend
to flip something at some point every show.
I think the only thing we got left is DIY. The TLC match. So the TLC match, I love that they gave them 30 minutes for this match. They gave them 30 minutes, and this goes down for me as one of the best TLC matches not on a pay-per-view in history. These 3 teams showed up, amazing spots. By the way, if you ever put a chair on my neck and swing another chair at me,
you saw that?
Yes, that spun around on Alex Riley's neck, and I'm just like, that's not safe. like that. There are so many things that can go wrong in that spot.
The prosthetic leg.
The prosthetic leg. By the way, and I was telling Natalie this, a lot of those people in that front row were NWA wrestlers. So the guy who gave them prosthetic legs is an NWA wrestler. Those are women in the front row. Yeah. There's a woman in the front row. Her name was Alexa something, Alexandra something. She's an NWA wrestler. The guy next to her, the big guy with the cauliflower ears, is an NWA wrestler. Because the news came out this week that WWE isn't looking to purchase NWA, but they're looking to have almost like a TNA style deal with NWA.
Wow.
Because after Natalia's blood sport match against the Japanese girl, she got into a pushing match with one of the NWA female wrestlers. So they're telling stories across the board. Like, this company wants to work with everybody right now, except for Alberto Del Rio.
Well, I was gonna say an AEW because,
well, that's not gonna happen. Tony Khan will never. He won't ever work with anyone else because he thinks himself and his company the best wrestling in the world, and he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to admit that there's another company bigger than him, even if they are. That's just the way I look at Tony Khan.
I would figure it's because if you notice, they're working with everybody, but none of their guys are really getting over. Like in terms of wins.
But they don't have to.
No, my point is that Tony would never allow AEW superstars to come over into WWE and take L's like
and
that.
take losses. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the problems when he was working with TNA and he was working with CMLL. He used to send his guys down to wrestle over there, and he was like, "Yeah, AEW wrestlers can't lose." Like that was one of his budget marketing things, or not marketing, but things he would negotiate with the other things. Like, yeah, my wrestlers can't lose on your shows, which turned a lot of people off.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Kenny Omega was holding 4 championship belts like he was Sasha Banks right now. Yeah, exactly. But this match, this triple threat between DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and Street Profits, there are so many spots we can talk about. The Montez Ford sent Swanton bomb from inside the ring to outside the ring through the table. The Johnny Gargano flatliner jumping from one ladder to the other on Alex Riley.
Mm.
I thought legitimately Carmelo Anthony, what's his name? Help me. Angelo Dawkins.
Oh, I was gonna. Okay.
I said Carmelo Anthony. I was just saying help me.
I don't know which one is which in your mind.
Carmelo Anthony is Dawkins because he's bigger and has the fatter face. Montez Ford is Chris Paul because he's smaller and looks like him.
I don't understand your logic. Continue.
I thought I'm doing it again. Angelo Dawkins. I thought Angelo Dawkins might have legitimately hurt himself doing the Jeff Hardy spear off jumping off the ladder to hanging Tommaso Ciampa. Like Tommaso Ciampa's hanging from the titles, a la Jeff Hardy WrestleMania 2000. He hits the spear like Edge did to him, but through a table. Like that spot was great, but he landed hard on his leg, and I thought he might have hurt himself there. There are so many spots in this match. I thought Montez hurt himself jumping over the corner when he banged his leg into the barricade because he never does that right. He always bangs his leg on that. So many spots. Great match. Amazing. The white noise that Tommaso Ciampa hit on Montez through the table that shattered in half. Like, so good. Eventually, Street Profits get the win.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Gargano and Shelley, or Gargano and Sabin. It was Gargano and Sabin climbing 2 ends of the ladder. Montez, not going to say what I'm thinking, starts climbing the outside of the ladder, like the side of the ladder that has no rungs.
I thought that was dope.
It was dope. Like I'm just like, why is he climbing the side of the ladder?
Mm-hmm.
So he's climbing the side of the ladder, knocks them both off, gets up there, and has trouble pulling the thing off, but eventually pulls off the thing that holds the tag team championships, and the Street Profits retain the Smackdown tag team championships in what was just an absolute 30 minutes of insane. Might have been. It's in the argument for me for match of the week. That rivals the women's match at Mania. This match could have been on Mania. It would have had a really good spot on Mania.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know where you would have put it in and what you would have taken out of Mania for this match, because this was just 30 minutes of car crash, and it harkens back to the Hardys.
You could have taken out the New Day and these guys, the War Raiders, and just swapped
it right in.
Yeah,
you could have. Yeah. Immediately, I thought, I know the moment, but immediately I thought you could have taken Joe Hendry out of Mania and put him in.
I thought about that, but then I thought about the moment, and that's why I decided not to mention it.
Yeah.
Because I had the same thought.
I thought about it. I was like, we could have just, but it was a great moment.
I prefer the moment because, again, what that means in history. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
in history and for wrestling, the fact that you had a TNA superstar debut, a world champion at your biggest pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
Joe Hendry went on, I think it was Busted Open the next day, and they asked him, he goes, what do you say to the fans who say you got jobbed out at Mania? And he was like, I've got 5 minutes on the biggest show of the year, not being a WWE contracted superstar, wrestling Randy Orton.
Yep.
It's like, I don't, and he hit me with the second RKO, and these are his words. He hit me with the second RKO. He patted me on the chest as to say, welcome to the club. He accepted me into the family that night.
Mm-hmm.
he's like Randy did my thing. He did my spin.
Mm-hmm.
Like he accepted me into the family that night. So I don't care what the wrestling fans have to say about me dropping out. And he said Triple H told him he'll be back for future manias. So I
There you go.
understand why you keep him on.
Yep. Um,
So
Here's my only issue with the match, and most of it is with Johnny Gargano.
okay.
I hate two things. Overall, I hate how everyone suddenly forgets how to climb ladders in ladder matches. It really irks my soul. It hurts me to my core.
they've
It's
been
so
beat down.
cringe.
They've been beat down so hard that they
I
have to move slowly. That's
I
the
get
wrestling mentality.
that part, but when they're like stumbling uh, and Johnny Gargano particularly, because as he's going up, he knows he's like 3 feet tall. There's no reason why you make it to the middle of the ladder and then start reaching. You are nowhere near the belts. That pissed me off, and he did it so many times. And then the thing that also irritates me is he makes it halfway up, and then he starts looking around for people, making sure that he's good to continue climbing, and then he proceeds to take his one more step. I hate it. I hate it so much because I was like, bruh, and all this time, instead of just looking around, you could have just kept climbing. And then on top of that, you should have just kept climbing and not stop every 2 steps to make sure if you could reach it or not. Just climb to the top. Just climb to the top. You're not there yet. Just climb to the very tippy toe top and then reach for the titles. That
Does the 2K game still do the thing where when you're climbing a ladder, you move slowly and you have to button mash the buttons in order to
no.
get to the next thing? That I used to love that. It was like I'm beat down so hard, I have to keep tapping X to get to the top of the ladder.
No, so now it's you get to the top and then you have to hit a combination of like whatever buttons come up on the screen
Gotcha.
to start taking it off, which is stupid too because it'll start like he'll grab it and then all of a sudden he like kind of moves it, and it's just like the animation just looks stupid. But I like the fact that it's a combination. You have to get the, and then if you
Gotcha.
get it wrong, then suddenly he's like letting go.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, great match.
Great
These
show.
guys, great show. They did a great show. They had this is what a SmackDown after Mania should be.
Mhm.
You had returns, you had call ups, you had a new champion crowned. You had a 30-minute banger of a match that just was fantastic. And everyone on this show, there was obviously there's winners and losers in matches, but there were no real losers tonight. I felt like everyone had uh except for Naomi because she doesn't know how to punch. Um but everyone really came and was like, "Oh, I'm going to put on my best effort tonight."
Yep.
So next week we have one announced match. I think that was the only thing announced for next week. Um, was Miz and Alistair, and that's about it. What's your biggest takeaway from the entire night?
I'm gonna go with Zelina
Okay.
because again, I want them to push her. I want to see what they're gonna do with it, and I hope it's not just we put the belt on her, have her win a couple times, and then take it off her for the next person. I just don't want to see that. I want to see her pushed to the moon, which I don't think they're gonna do. But that's my takeaway from that night, just because I want to see what's coming for her. Cause I deserve. I think she's well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't gotten the push in forever. They did it. They did it a few years ago, and then did nothing with it. They
When she
pushed
was
her.
Queen of the Ring,
Yeah, they pushed her for a little bit, and then just stopped out of
and
nowhere.
she made Queen of the Ring entertaining. Like I understand it's a fictitious title. They haven't done another one since. Actually, no, they did.
They did.
Nia Jax won.
Yeah,
I totally forgot.
I think it
Yeah.
was Naya and Xavier. No, were the last two.
No, Xavier won the same year as Zelina won.
Oh, so who was with Naya?
Somebody, Gunther.
Gunther.
Gunther won, and that's how he got his world championship match against Damian Priest.
Copy.
Uh, yeah. So great show. I'm gonna say same household, but I'm gonna go Aleister Black. Aleister Black's return is huge for him. Almost, you had the Rusev return on Monday. You had the Aleister return tonight. They both looked great in different ways. Rusev was dominant, took down an entire tag team by himself. Aleister's return was still more mysterious. Comes in, hits one move, silenced the Miz, get out.
Mm-hmm.
It was not as long as Rusev's return because Rusev was out there a long time. But that's what you could do with him. You can have him come out and be that mysterious character, and then again, that mystique, that aura for him is everything. So that's my takeaway. Let's see what they do with him. Let's see if Hunter really he's going to be relegated to mid card feuds for a while because again, this John Cena thing is going to dominate that main card for probably the majority of this year.
Yeah.
So he's going to be relegated to the mid card for a while, but you can elevate him while not having him feud with for a title for a little while.
Well, yeah. Right now he's gonna be fighting the Miz for the most part, which is
Oh,
fine.
that's a quick way to kill somebody's kill somebody's momentum. Just have him a prolonged feud with the Miz. Um, I'm sorry.
But I'm assuming it's to start with the Miz and continue to
Yeah,
Carmelo.
that would be good. I think Carmelo Alistair in a prolonged feud would be amazing.
You're welcome.
That would be awesome. Redo the listen. You could do Carmelo. You can do Andrade again. They had an NXT feud, which was amazing. That's when him and Zelina really started connecting
You
backstage.
can't do. I mean, you can again because we talked about cross feuds and stuff. But technically, right now, something's happening between him and Santos Escobar and them. So right
Yeah,
now, technically, he has something going on. Is what I'm saying. Down
down
the
the line.
road, I get it.
Yeah, and then I know they've never touched on, especially since he's been back. They have kept Zelina and Andrade separate,
Mm-hmm.
but she was his manager for all those years before he left for AEW. So if you really wanted to really touch on the real life aspects of it, you can have Zelina be the middle thing between Andrade and Alistair if they're feuding, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's stories she can tell, and she's talented enough to pull that off without making it hokey.
Yeah,
So I think there's things you can do to elevate everybody involved. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Alistair moving forward.
I agree. I agree. But yeah, great show, great week for wrestling. Very entertaining week. Right? We're still in WrestleMania week.
I mean,
It was
no,
Sunday. No, I'm saying it was Sunday. No,
the week after WrestleMania. WrestleMania week is the week before WrestleMania.
I'm saying Sunday.
Sunday,
This Sunday that
yes,
just passed was WrestleMania
yeah.
week.
We have not been 1 week out of WrestleMania
That's what I'm
yet.
saying. So WrestleMania. This guy want to argue. I'm gonna fight you. I promise you. I'm gonna put you in a Hell in a Cell match.
As long as you don't put a chair around my neck and swing another chair at me, we're good. I will take all of those table bumps before I take that chair bump that Alex Shelley. I called him Alex Riley before. That's not his name.
That is
Alex
not
Riley
his name.
Alex Riley was the
I
guy who
know.
used to be with the Miz. I call Alex Shelley is his name.
Terrible.
Listen, I watch too much wrestling. All of these names sound the same. Like I wanted to come out here and call him Alexander Negro just so I can Alistair Black.
I understood. I speak Spanish. Look at you explaining Spanish to me.
I had to explain it to Natalie. I'm gonna just call him Alexander Negro and see what Jay says.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Well, that's it for us, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we thank you for all your engagement, the follows, the subscriptions, the just listening to us banter and go back and forth like this with our stupidity.
Absolutely.
We thank you guys always, and we appreciate you guys. We hope that you continue to comment, like, share, subscribe, all that fancy stuff, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.